Autism spectrum disorder is complicated and doesn't have a simple answer. But some say there is hope on the horizon with an electromagnetic therapy called MeRT. Joining us now in our audience is Miriam, whose daughter went through this treatment. And I'm going to go ahead and ask you, Miriam, a little bit about your daughter's autism.
Of course. Well, when she was a baby, everything seemed perfect. You know, I was able to take her to the mall in a stroller. We were able to go everywhere. But as time passed, she was around 1.5 years, everything went downhill, everything. Starting with her lack of connection to me as her mother or to anybody in the family. And one day, I remember specifically, I went up to her, I said, Raquel, and she ignored me. And then I said, Raquel, and she wouldn't turn around and look at me. And then I started screaming her name, right behind her ear, and she didn't even flinch. So I thought, she's deaf? It's the first thing I thought. So I took her to the doctor the next day, and the doctor took a metal pan and threw it on the ground, and she flipped, she got scared. And he goes, congratulations, your kid's not deaf. And I said, well, if she's not deaf, what is she? What do I do? Well, I don't know. So from there, she stopped making eye contact. And I have twins, so it was very easy to compare at that age. One was doing so many things. You know, one started saying words. You know, Marcela, which is my twin, she wanted to be with me. She wanted to hug me, love me. Raquel couldn't stand my touch. She was always gone, in her own little world. And as time passed, it became worse. It was like a jail that she was trapped into. So no visual contact. She wasn't listening to her name. She wasn't following instructions. Her sister started speaking. She stopped speaking. There's nothing about her that was normal. So as time went on, things got worse because she stopped going out of the house. We couldn't take her out anymore. And so when she was a baby, she was able to go out. And when she was around 3 years old, I took her to a mall, and she screamed so much and cried so much that a gentleman asked me if she needed an ambulance. So we're not talking about like a tantrum. We're talking about full-on blown panic attacks. It almost felt like she was being attacked by the world. I didn't know how to help her. So I just didn't take her out anymore. And when I did want to just be a little stubborn and say, I want a normal day with my family and I want to take her out, she would bite herself because she was so frustrated. Also, you know, by now, she's what, 4.5 years old, she's still wearing a diaper. Our family was in so much pain. And like many moms like Leah, we do so much. I have a list this long of everything I tried, she wasn't budging.
How old was she when she was formally diagnosed?
She was formally diagnosed when she was 1.5 years with severe autism. Okay. I was told she would have to be put in a hospital eventually because, you know, she was having a hard time. And so you were trying everything. Nothing was really helping. I want to ask you when you found out about this treatment we've been talking about called MeRT. Well, okay, so she was 4.5, and I went to see a doctor in Atlanta, Georgia, and he said, listen, Miriam, you know, we've been working together for 3 years. You've done everything I've asked you to do. I can't lie to you. Your kid isn't getting better. Why don't you try this at the Brain Treatment Center? This thing's called MeRT. He sort of explained to me what it was. And I just took the airplane. I just went. I wasn't even done with the conversation. I was already at the center. So I show up, and they tell me what they're going to do. They're going to do an EEG on my daughter and tell me, you know, get a glimpse of how her brain's functioning. And I have to say, that day alone, for me, it changed my life because you go to so many doctors with your autistic child, you don't have many answers. There's not much research out there, like you said, you pointed out. They were able to tell me who my daughter was. They were able to tell me about her attacks, her anxiety, why she wasn't speaking. It's just, I got answers for the first time just about her brain. You know, not even about anything that had to do with her diagnosis. Here's your kid's brain. And it just felt so good to have that validation that, okay, I'm not crazy. This is not normal, you know? What happened after MeRT, it just changed our lives.